Very shocking news. Loudly crying face. The painful secret of BTS Suga. Loudly crying face. The heartbreaking truth behind his smile. The roar of 70,000 people screaming his name can shake the foundations of a stadium. But for a long time, the silence inside Min Yoongi's own mind was louder than any applause. To the world, he is Suga of BTS, a global icon, a rap genius, and a producer with a golden touch. But if you strip away the lights, the makeup, and the sold-out tours, you find a story that is not about stardom, but about survival. It is the story of a boy who walked through fire, burned his feet, and kept walking because he had nowhere else to go. Before the world knew him as a superstar, Min Yoongi was just a boy in Daegu with a dream that felt more like a curse. His journey began in a place of profound financial and emotional instability. According to various media interviews and his own lyrics, his family was not wealthy, and the choice to pursue music was a gamble they could not afford to support. There were days when Yoongi stood at a crossroads of survival. He had to choose between buying a bowl of noodles to eat or paying for the bus ride home. If he ate, he walked for hours. If he took the bus, he starved. This was not a brief moment of hardship. It was his daily reality. He tried to sell his music to help make ends meet. He would compose beats and sell them to local artists, often for barely enough money to buy food. Yet, media reports suggest that he was frequently scammed, handing over his hard work and receiving nothing in return. He was working in the shadows, fighting for recognition in a world that seemed determined to ignore him. His parents, worried about his unstable future, initially opposed his dreams. In a moment of heartbreak that he has alluded to in his music, his lyrics were torn up, a physical representation of his aspirations being shredded before his eyes. He was alone, fighting a battle on two fronts: poverty outside, and a lack of support at home. When Min Yoongi finally made it to Seoul as a trainee, he thought the worst was over, but the true test of his spirit had just begun. To support himself while training, he took a job as a delivery driver. It was a rainy day when everything nearly ended. While making a delivery, Yoongi was struck by a car. He crashed, shattering his shoulder. Lying on the wet pavement, the physical pain was agonizing, but the fear was worse. According to his documentary Suga, Road to D-Day, he was terrified that if the company found out about his injury, he would be fired. He was just a trainee, easily replaceable. So he made a decision that breaks the heart to consider. He hid the injury. 4 years, Min Yoongi lived with a broken shoulder and a terrified heart. He told the company he fell down the stairs, masking the severity of the accident. He practiced choreography that required intense physical exertion while his shoulder throbbed in silent agony. He learned to endure pain as if it were a natural part of breathing. This physical trauma was compounded by a severe mental battle. In his solo work under the name August D, specifically in the track, The Last, Yoongi revealed that he developed social phobia and depression during his late teens. He described moments where he hid in the bathroom, staring at himself in the mirror, terrified of the world outside. There was a specific day he recalls in his lyrics where his parents accompanied him to a psychiatrist. It was the moment he realized his mind was a battlefield he could not navigate alone. He felt like a monster. He felt broken. The pressure of becoming an idol, the uncertainty of debut, and the lingering trauma of his accident created a storm of self-doubt. He wondered if he was greedy for wanting to be a musician. He wondered if he deserved to be heard. Even after BTS debuted, the struggle shifted but did not disappear. The underground hip-hop community he came from criticized him for becoming an idol, calling him a sellout for wearing makeup and dancing. To them, he was fake. To the pop world, he was too aggressive. Min Yoongi felt trapped between two identities, accepted by neither. This anger fueled his early performances, but inside, he was still the boy from Daegu, afraid that everything he built would crumble. The years of untreated injury finally caught up with him. In 2020, at the height of BTS's global success, Yoongi could no longer lift his arm. The pain he had hidden since his trainee days had become unbearable. He underwent major surgery, forcing him to step away from the stage while the rest of the members continued to perform. During this hiatus, he confessed to feeling a deep sense of fear. Watching the group perform without him, he questioned his place. Verified reports from Weverse magazine interviews show a man grappling with the fear of being forgotten, wondering if he could ever return to the form he once had. It was a moment of vulnerability that showed even the strongest pillars can shake. Yet, it is precisely this darkness that makes his light so blinding. Min Yoongi did not let the pain destroy him. He used it as fuel. He poured every ounce of his suffering into his music. He created August D not to be famous, but to bleed out the poison in his soul. He spoke about depression, OCD, and poverty when the K-pop industry demanded perfection and silence. He refused to be a plastic doll. By sharing his scars, he told millions of fans that it is okay to be broken. Fans love him not simply because he is a talented producer or a fast rapper, but because he is painfully human. They love him for the way he silently cares for the other members, handing them water without looking, cooking for them, fixing things quietly in the background. They love him because he does not pretend to be happy all the time. He shows that you can be tired, you can be grumpy, you can want to lie down and do nothing, and you can still be worthy of love. He has achieved things the boy in Daegu could never have imagined. He has been nominated for Grammys, sold out stadiums, and produced for global stars. According to various financial outlets, he is now a multimillionaire who donates generously to cancer foundations and disaster relief, often on his birthday, giving back to the world that once gave him nothing. But his greatest achievement is not the money or the trophies. It is the fact that he is still here. In his recent solo tour, there was a moment during the performance of Amygdala, a song about his most traumatic memories, where he stood on stage as the set crumbled around him. He did not run. He stood amidst the ruins of his past, singing with a voice that was steady and strong. It was a declaration of victory. He has learned to live with his shadow. He has accepted that the depression, the accident, and the poverty are parts of who he is, but they do not define where he is going. Min Yoongi's future is no longer driven by the desperate need to survive, but by a desire to live fully. He speaks now of wanting to make music for a long time, not for charts, but for comfort. He envisions a future where he can simply be a human being who enjoys the quiet moments, a stark contrast to the chaotic survival of his youth. As we look at him now, standing stoically in the spotlight, we must recognize the weight he carries. We must see the delivery boy on the rainy street. We must see the teenager crying on the bathroom floor. We must see the young man holding a broken shoulder and smiling through the pain. Min Yoongi is a testament to the fact that rock bottom is not the end. It is a solid foundation on which to build. He teaches us that silence is not always empty. Sometimes, it is full of answers we are too afraid to hear. He teaches us that you can be afraid and still be brave. When the music stops and the lights go down, the respect we feel for him is not just for the idol, but for the survivor. He proved that even a damaged soul can create a masterpiece. And in that realization, we find a quiet, trembling hope for ourselves.